Welcome to Couch Discussions. This week we're going to talk about indoor training facility myths and concerns. All right, myth number one, indoor training and environment doesn't transfer to in-game performance. Yeah, I'd definitely say that's a myth.
100%.
I mean, when we think about it, over half of the country trains indoors for at least 35 to 40% of the year. To be real, you can't really get strong outside playing a game, and that only really happens in a weight room, simply put. So one of the concerns that we got, indoor space is too limited for proper throwing and hitting. I think that's pretty contextual. The reality is, on the throwing side of things, the only thing that we can't do indoors that we can do outdoors is long toss. And depending on who you are, long toss might not even be beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, especially depending on, whether you're a over-the-top guy or lower slot guy. A lot of times long toss is not beneficial at all for lower slot guys at all. So honestly, I think it's a big time myth because space doesn't necessarily dictate what you can get done within reason. And a lot of times a smaller area can actually allow you to focus on smaller things at a time and actually focus on development rather than just focusing on and getting feedback based off of ball flight. Like a ton of hitters use shorter cages because they don't want to be influenced by ball flight. They want to get information and get data that's actually telling them, hey, this is what you did right versus just what their eyes see.
I mean, just from the coach's perspective too, I mean, less space means it's easier to see everybody. It's easier to see what's going on. You're going to get a lot more coaching opportunities. So definitely think the indoor space being too limited. Yeah, not really.
Major myth.
Myth number 3, indoor training makes players too mechanical. I think this can go both ways.
I think it just comes down to what are you emphasizing inside.
Yeah. What are you emphasizing inside, and who's the coach coaching?
It's true. I mean, you can get overcoached and overcued and domed up inside, outside. It doesn't matter where you go.
Q salads, baby. Q salads. I think that's what really makes players too mechanical. It's just too much information, too many different thought processes. At some point, you just got to go out there and be a savage and get the job done. One of the major concerns, pitching indoors is bad for arm health. I don't know where you heard that, but pitching is pitching. It don't matter where you're at. Don't get me started on the debate on stress between throws. We have a previous post on that, but there's a ton of things that influence stress on the arm, whether it be type of implement that you're throwing, the weight of the implement, the environment, and even like the individuality of player to player.
I mean, really one of the most consistent things we can focus on when it comes to arm health is actually having a good understanding of in-game throws to training throws. Whether we're inside or outside, if the adrenaline's going and we have that competition, that competitive tool, that's going to dictate way more of what we're doing than whether we're inside or outside.
This is why you track your workload using Pulse. Number 5, myth. Weightlifting makes baseball players bulky and slower. Yeah, that's a myth. Let's be real. If you want to hit the ball out of the ballpark or if you want to throw gas, you got to get big. Getting big does not mean you're going to move slower. At that point, we're just working on force velocity curve, whether or not we need to be creating more elasticity, creating more strength. There's a lot of different things that we can go into there. Weightlifting is not going to make you too bulky and slow, especially if you're using square one.
Be strong, move fast. Moving fast without being able to put force behind it doesn't do anything. Myth number 6, there's not enough live at-bats or game reps indoors. Again, I think this comes down a lot to environment and context. You can be on a team and be somewhere in the country where it's warm 365 days out of the year and not get opportunities. I think it really comes down to, are you prioritizing your time? Are you structuring your throwing around specific sections? If you're in a development phase, yeah, you may not be in live at bat or live moments. But if you're going to structure and you have an idea of what you're trying to do, there should not be a reason where you can't get live at bats and an in-game reps if you are structuring your training properly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just comes down to the creativity of the coach. Up north, you can only play baseball outside 5, 6, maybe 7 months out of the year. If you want to get in-game style reps before your season actually starts, you're going to have to figure out a way to get it done inside. And most of the time that's, live ABs in the cage, things along those lines. But you have to find a way to get the competitive juices flowing indoors for those teams.
Myth number 7, indoor training is only for the off season.
I don't know of very many outdoor weight rooms unless you're on Muscle Beach. Let's be real. There's not a chance you get to your goals if you only train outdoors once the season starts. Got to get in the weight room. Weight rooms are typically inside.
Yeah, not to mention, you look at, we're getting close to the MLB All-Star break. Lots of these guys that are taking the All-Star break off, basically what they're doing is they're getting inside. If they're working on a swing adjustment or they're working on something different, they're going to get inside and try to refine that specific thing, and that's not necessarily happening on the field 24/7.
All right, number 8. It's too data heavy and not enough feel when you're training indoors. I think that really depends on the facility you're training at, the coaches that you're working with, the tech that you have available. But the reality is data is not the enemy, feel is not the enemy. It's a matter of how you can blend those two things together.
It doesn't matter if you're training indoors or you have an outdoor bullpen session or live at bats and you've got a stadium TrackMan. It all comes down to, do you understand what data is? And that data just helps you dig a little deeper into why you have success or why we fail. It all comes down to how can we interpret data and can we keep focusing on the why. I think as soon as we use data, it become the main thing, the main focus. We completely lose ourselves as athletes. What it comes down to is data is just there, help give us a little bit more information as to why we suck or why we're good. Concern, it's too expensive and only for the elite players.
I think that kind of depends. I mean, there's a lot of facilities in the country. There's a lot of different price points. It's definitely not just for elite players, that's for sure. Normally your biggest success stories are coming from guys who walk into the gym at below average. I would definitely say that that's up to the interpreter.
I mean, especially in today's world we're at, where there's too much information out there to think of elite players as just this mythical group of people. Like, we all know elite players are built when no one's looking. And one of the best places to go do that is get somewhere where you can be in an environment with a bunch of guys that are going to get after it and are going to push you to get better. That can be on a team, in a facility, that can be really anywhere. It's about the culture you surround yourself. It being expensive, it's about you finding the right fit and finding the group of people that are going to input and give you great stuff. I don't know of many guys that have stopped just because of price.
There's a will, there's a way.